あ、見つけたー見つかったーちょっと待って。あ、ゲーム好きな方来場ありがとうございます。ちょっと待ってね。よし、オッケー。今日はね、なんか声が声が今日はザ・ファーストツリーという多分ね結構雰囲気ゲーかなをやっていこうと思います。最近ちょっとなんかバイオとかね結構激しいゲームをやっててちょっと疲れてきたんでちょっと癒し的な感じで、なんかねキツネを操作するゲームで、基本なんか進んでいくだけとかそういう感じじゃなかった。ちょっとごめんね、私の方のゲーム音がでかくて。
Are you awake? I thought I heard you get up.
あ、
Yeah, I'm awake. Sorry, I just can't sleep.
Are you thinking about him?
Yeah, a bit. You should get back to sleep, my love. I'm fine.
No, it's okay. What else is on your mind?
I don't know. It seems weird, but I had one of the most vivid dreams of my life. I saw a fox on a snowy mountain, just looking confused and worried. Those eyes. I can't get those eyes out of my head. She was running in the windy snow, looking for something.
Do you think it has to do with you and what's been going on?
I don't know. It was just a dream, Rachel. They're not meant to make sense. A lot's happened the past couple days, that's all.
Well, if you're not going to sleep anyway, you should tell me. I want to hear.
All right.
なんかなんだっけな、なんか主人公キツネも動かすんだけど、なんか現実の人間の自分ともなんかちょっとつながりがあるみたいな感じだったっけ。なんか走るとかと言ったんだっけ。あ、走ったわ。ジャンプ×二段ジャンプができる。主婦が走ってるの和骨和骨です。今日はキツネとなって走っておりますよ。なんか重い振り返りつつみたいな感じだけど、なんかほんのちょっとだけ最初やってずっと放置してたゲームなんだけど、たまにはなんかこう癒しじゃないけどまったりできるゲームでもやろうかなと。このキツネがチャロさんじゃろ。そう、私。多分確か基本的に進んでいけばいいだけだったような気がする。 音楽とかはめちゃくちゃ良かったと思う。ああ待って、それどうやってやんの？
So, not far from her home, she followed that path to something
Ah.
unexpected.
亡くなってるこの子。アイコンもキツネだし、犬じゃなくてキツネだよね。びっくり。キツネだよ。
She couldn't stay, though. She had to find her other 2 children. So she took that path. She followed it towards something ancient. Something with answers.
おー。雨降ってきた。
The fox looked high and low, searching for any sign of her cubs. Points of light showed the way to this ancient tree.
なるほど。
It was as if each one had a story to tell, all their own. The land was trying to tell my story, too. I felt like I was right behind her the whole time.
多分なんかね、私狼やったことないんだけど、なんか多分ね、キラキラ取りつつ、なんかレベル上げたりとか多分そういうのはなくて、本当に進んでってなんか目的地というかポイントに行くと多分話が進むとか。なんか向こうの奥とかも光ってるね。狐が戦って進化してキュービになってあ、そうなんかね、こういう遊具とかがちょいちょいあって、なんか現実とその狐、この狐になってる時がなんか夢を見てたみたいな、自分が狐になった夢を見たっていうのが今このパーンみたいな。
As a kid, did you ever do show and tell in your class?
Yeah, I think I only did it once, when I was in the 4th grade. You know how my life was around then. I wanted to show my class what helped pass the time and distracted me, so I brought a dozen paper cranes I had made. I think I told everyone how badly I wanted to be a bird and fly, embarrassingly enough.
Don't be embarrassed. Every kid wants to fly. For me, it was another toy from my dad, a wooden boat. I remember guarding it so carefully in my hands as I walked into class. When I sat down, a group of boys immediately made fun of it. They asked which trash can I found it in, or why an ugly log was my favorite toy. When I got up, I didn't even want to tell them my dad had carved it. I said it was a joke gift my friends had given me.
Kids can be so cruel.
Some of them are. I shouldn't have let them get to me, but it did. It's amazing we bounced back at all.
バトルはなくて、なんかね、こうポイントに行くと思い出話が入って物語が分かっていく感じかな。基本走るぐらいかな。
Do you remember what my dad did for a living?
お父さんとの思
Wasn't
い出
he
か。
like a lumberjack?
That's one way of putting it. If wood was a canvas, then a carving knife was his paintbrush. Even after working a 50-hour week, even after his hands were more splinters than skin, he would bring home the nicest piece of Alaskan weeping cedar and make me toys. That wooden train was the first toy I can remember, and I loved it. I just knew from a young age I was going to be a lumberjack, like my father.
なんかお父さんとの思い出に心残りがあるとか、なんかそういう感じじゃなかったかな。おい。ここにも何かが。これ。
Usually those kids would leave me alone, but somehow they could tell I was different. They made fun of how far away I lived. They called my dad a sourdough. I was a blabbermouth as a kid, telling my dad stories I made up for hours. But after that show and tell, I didn't tell him much anymore. He didn't know exactly what was wrong, but his best guess was that the toys he carved weren't cool enough. He carved me a tank and tried to tell me what it was like to be in a real tank as a serviceman.
I didn't know your dad was in the military.
Yeah, in the army. The sad thing is that I'd pretty much forgotten until just now. There's so much I still don't know about him.
I'm sorry. He knows how much you love him. You're going to see him again soon and have some closure, I'm sure.
ちょっとお父さんといざこざが。あの上とか行けんのかな。今日声が。他に何か見つけられるかな。また思い出チェックポイント。あ、こんにちは。こんにちは。
The older I got, the more I withdrew. I asked myself, why talk to anybody anyway? Why bother when I'm happy by myself? I started drawing a lot, mostly animals I saw in the woods by my home. I then imagined designing my own hideouts with things like TVs and pantries full of chips and cookies. I think that idea of leaving home and drawing blueprints started my career. I found a lot of solace in that.
I'm not surprised, but I did the same thing, you know? There's something special about having a place to call your own.
And now look at us. Well, if you count renting in an overpriced city.
It's as close as we can get for now.
なんか思い出を探しつつ物語の真相を紐解いていくっていう感じかな。ああ、取れなかった。あ、いや、次の目的地に、そこになんか車あるけど。食べ物持っておじいちゃん家に行ったらおじいちゃんに撃たれるという思い出。あれ、それゴンギツね。あ、スピさん900ポイント報告ありがとうございます。もう行っていいか。拾えなかった。それとも手だけ人間の手にばきで手袋買いに行くという思い出。この上登れるか。登れた。スピさんプラス何百ポイント広告ありがとうございます。あれ取りたい。あー、取れた。危ない。手袋をあれ手だけ化けるやつは何の話だっけ。それともブドウが取れたくても取れなくて結局あのブドウは酸っぱいんだと諦めるという話、思い出あったね。それイソップ童話だっけ。お、あれ、なんか季節が変わった。狐ネタ尽きた。
My teenage years were full of sketching, angst, and trouble. I wasn't popular or unpopular. Maybe
郵便
just
箱に花
forgettable.
火入れたりとかやばいな。
I guess that gave me a sense of freedom. So I hung out with crazy kids, doing crazy things, even though I mostly just watched the chaos ensue. We did it all. Put fireworks in mailboxes, hide roadkill in people's garages, break windows at the barber shop in Anchorage.
あ、第
My
50
dad
に
was
ランクインありがとうご
furious,
ざいます。
but he was so busy working he couldn't do much to stop me from going out.
あ、
I
怒っ
think being
た
an。adult means there's no one to stop you making hard decisions. He had to make a living,
え、
and
大
he
丈夫？
couldn't
な
be
ん
in
か
two
ちょっと
places
挙
at
動が不審。
once.
Yeah, I realize that now. But at the time, I was sure he was more interested in growing his business than what was going on with me.
主人公は画家になるためになんか画家になろうとしてるのかな。 先の警官と協力してズートピアで闇を暴くという思い出もあったか。なるほど。私見てないんだよね、あれだけ有名なのに。登れんのか。あ、ズサーってなってくるズサーってなってくる。何今のジャンプと蝶々。あ、あれか。なんかキラキラしてる。なんかすごいジャンプできるようになったかな。おー、高くジャンプできるようになった。あれ、警官パトカーあるけど捕まったりしてたってことかな。結構悪いことやってたっぽいから。
He was working another late night, and my friends were over, saying how bored they were and how they had come all the way out to my house for nothing. One of them mentioned how that old, ugly beyond belief truck was still in the garage, and how we should take it for a spin. I was only 15, so I kind of fought it for a while. The next thing I knew, we were careening around the mountain path, rocks spitting onto the sides of the cliff, while my dad's cringeworthy bluegrass blared out the speakers. I drove while my friends were in the back of that yellow and purple truck, throwing beer bottles and trash at anything remotely interesting. Felt like I was soaring in the air with borrowed wings. But all good things have endings. A cop outside of Eagle River pulled us over after he saw us in a bottle rocket into someone's yard. What followed was a long night of talking to
それゆ
disappointed
えのそこの
adults
パトカーか。
and feeling smaller than ever.
上何？ポリスステーション。よし。落ちるー。あ、びっくりした。あ、大丈夫。なんか時々怖いんだけど、なんか固まるんじゃないかという恐怖。こっからこっち。めちゃくちゃ蝶々いる。落ちていいのかな。蝶々取ってこの上は登れるのか。 や登れないな。そんなに高さ出ないな。そこ行ってやらどうなるんだろう。とりあえず向こうでいいんかな。そこってそこの蝶々取ったらなんか2段さらに高く飛べるとかあるかな。あ、でも結局ここでも一回飛ばなきゃいけないのか。あそこキラキラ光ってるのはなさそうだから。登れるかな。あー、やっぱいるんだ。え、3つも集められる？ちょっとアクション性が出てきたぞ。あ、なんとかなんか言ったぞ。でもうまくいけば乗れるな。あそこにある。なんか光ってた。1個取り逃すとこだった。
After he drove me home from the police station, I blew up at him, saying how I never wanted to be like him, how I was gonna be someone and leave that hick icebox for good. He just looked forward at the road with tired eyes. I took out that bluegrass tape from the cassette deck and chucked it out the window. In my sage teenage wisdom, I thought I had proved the ultimate point. But my dad had a different idea. He slammed the brakes, slowly bowed his head while gripping the steering wheel, and finally looked at me. All he said, like it was a polite request, was, "Make this right." I sat there in silence, fuming, but I eventually got out and combed every square inch of the woods, muttering profanity after profanity. I found it 30 minutes later, near a small waterfall off the road. I went back to the truck, put the wet tape back in, And sure enough, it worked. We didn't speak another word to each other the rest of the night.
Wow, I knew you were a crazy teenager, but...
It's hard to believe, isn't it? It surprises me too. It's like I didn't really know who that kid was back then. I bet my dad thought the same thing over and over. It's almost like he was saying, make this right to himself, more than to me.
からよし順番としては123みたいな感じかな。そこどうしてもジャンプしないと取れないし。あー、怒っちゃう。ね、そう平和なゲーム最近ちょっと物騒なゲームしかやってないから。ちょっとたまにはね。あ、なんかその下にもあるな。ゆるっと。ここ飛べるかな。おー、なんか風に乗って上に行ったぞ。狼ってやったことないんだけど、なんか面白いのかな。結構名作とは聞くけど。いつもセールが来るたんびに狼買おうかなーって。あー、神ゲー。やっぱこう一回はやっといた方が。いいのかしら。ちょっと飲み物取ってきます。よし、戻りました。お昼に食べた唐揚げ弁当がちょっと気持ち悪くてあれ、なんか長女取れちゃった。風で吹き飛ばされたのか。 し、これでいけるぞ。
My friends would laugh about that
Oh.
night and talk about how crazy it was. And I laughed along, pretending it didn't bother me. But it did. I imagined my friends growing old in the bush, unable to find that thrill in those godforsaken ice fields. It's like those mountains were a literal wall, keeping me from leaving, where all I would have to look forward to are lumber yards and evening beers. I had to climb over. That was my only goal for a long time. If there was some way I could take my love of drawing and turn it into a way of escape, nothing would make me happier. I wanted to create instead of tearing trees down. I wanted to move to the lower 48, not because I hated it there in Alaska, but I hated the idea of it. It's like all of that spite inside me had created this monster which followed me around my whole teenage years. I put so much energy into doing what others didn't expect of me. Why did I do that?
There's one fact you're forgetting, though. If you didn't have that fire in you, we probably would have never met.
You're absolutely right. Maybe the destination is all that matters in the end. But then why am I awake? Why am I seeing this fox go on her journey? And why can't I stop thinking about my dad?
これでなんかすごい遠くに飛べんのかな。あ、別にそういうわけではなく、話の転換だった。そう、これ夢らしい。自分がなんか狐になってる夢を見たっていうのを多分彼女か奥さんに話してるみたいな。それと同時にその自分の過去の話もしてる感じですね。多分お父さんとのなんかわだかまりというかが、お父さんと何かがあって、それがずっと心に残っている。狐が旦那の夢を見てるというオチかな。内側は特に何もなくて、ああ、落っこっちゃう、危ない。お、どういうこと？半分の何かを持ってこなきゃいけないのかな。 あ、胡蝶の夢っていうのがあるの？思ったよりこのマップが結構広いね。
On our property, there were old abandoned pieces of a shed and car long left unused. I used to ask him all the time who those people were that left all this junk, and I'm sure he got so tired of hearing it that he made up some elaborate stories how a brown bear ate them and haunted the woods afterwards. What's funny is I think it made those people seem more real, growing up thinking they were still hanging out like they couldn't say goodbye. I used to tell my friends how I could swear I saw spirits move near the water, and that always freaked them out. I guess it didn't bother me, because the way I saw it, they were normal people with old cars and sheds, just trying to figure out how to survive and be happy in the middle of nowhere. It was a cool thought that they didn't want to leave, but you know, I was a weird kid.
Well, you had good company since those ghosts like living in a place where they were brutally devoured.
なんかあそこにもあるけど、こっちの方が近いかな。蝶になった夢を見て自分が蝶の夢を見たのか、ああ蝶が自分になってる夢を見てるのか分からなくなるというお話。あ、なんかそんな感じの聞いたことあるな。ちょっとこうなんだろう、怖いというか不気味な話ですよね。
Even at my most distant, at the times when I detested him the most, he kept reaching out. For a year straight, he asked me every week when we were going camping. I thought he was just dense. Eventually, to shut him up, I agreed. We carried out the worn lawn chairs from the garage and set up a cinder block campfire at the site we'd always used behind the house. We walked down the mountain path, talking in the warm sunshine we only got a couple months of the year. Those 3 obsidian rocks shimmered alongside the shore, almost like sparklers pressed against a dark window. I'll never forget that wet stone on my feet, or how those massive mountains looked even bigger in the lake's reflection. I felt small, but grateful. As the sun set, my dad found something I hadn't seen for a long time. The tree where I'd made my first carving when I was 6. I hadn't even carved it. My dad had helped me, but I still called it my tree. Something about seeing my name there made me open up, and we talked about everything that night in that old camouflage tent. I told him how much I loved sketching and design, and how it would be a dream to study architecture in Seattle. I told him how I didn't get along with my friends much anymore, but that I didn't mind being alone. He told me he was there for me, and he joked that if all he had to do was write my name on a tree to finally get me to talk, he would have left me carved logs with novels on them in front of my room every morning. I don't know why it took me that long to realize it, but it was then I knew how much he had sacrificed for me.
ああ、なんかもうちょっとお父さんとこじれてるのかなって思ったけど、なんかそうでもなさそう。あ、タイミングなのか。うわー、また戻らなきゃいけないじゃん、あれ。そこかな。登れる。ああ、なるほど。ここは登れないでしょ。こっち側からか。あそこの隙間にもあるぞ。通ってあったあった。こうか。ああ、また戻らなきゃ最初のやつ。こっちからいけるか。多分向こうに向かっていけば戻れるはず。 壁だから、あ、でもなんかあそこにもあんな。
We were happiest underneath the evergreens. We decided it was time to finally map out the hundreds of acres we lived on just to pass the time during the summer. He was only free in the evenings, so I would spend the day wasting time on dial-up internet and sketching, and then we would rush into the woods, pen and map in hand, before evening fell. Sometimes, the aurora borealis would cast a cold green glow on the mountainside, and we would finish our route underneath a twilight sky. Sometimes I was lonely during those summer days, but there was comfort in the routine.
A lot of teenagers aren't looking for the daily grind, though. There's nothing wrong with wanting to get out, to leave your childhood home. You wanted to progress, to make something of yourself.
Yeah, you're right. That house. I'm sure it's the same as how I left it. But then why does it feel so different?
I doubt you're the only adult to have looked back and asked that question.
Mm. あれでもなんか光の柱みたいなやつまだ向こうにあるな。あ、でもなんかもうあそこにもあるし、
My dad built a lot of stuff in his free time. If he wasn't watching fly fishing or reading Tom Clancy novels, he was carving something. He made tons of birdhouses. Not that he was into bird watching, but I think he really missed working and adding on to the home. If he couldn't afford the time to build onto our own house, he would have to settle with watching birds move into their little homes. We kept an old mattress in the bed of that ugly yellow truck, so we would drive it deep into the woods and then watch the birds fly into their houses while the sun set. Usually it was accompanied by venison jerky or a cold Coke, but not a lot of talking, which is how we both liked it.
とりあえずなんかその先になんか星のかけらみたいなやつあったから、それ取って。あれこれがなんかその初めての木みたいな、僕の木だみたいなこと言ってたやつかな。あ、違うわ、ここあれだ、やったやつだ。あ、じゃあこっち側か。 戻ってきたのか。あ、じゃああそこだな。からこの危ない。お、なんか焚き火の燃える音が聞こえるぞ。あとはちょっともう一回戻って、なんかさっき封鎖されてるっぽかった道が行けるようになってるのかな。あ、よしよしよしよし、進めるようになってる。よし。
The perpetrator stood nearby, unfazed.
あー
Like
あ、
nothing was
音さなくなってるのか。
My dad is dead,
あ
and he's never coming back, Rachel. I can tell you these stories, but I can never reminisce with him again. He can never hold a grandchild that we'll probably never be able to have. I can never talk to him again, and I'll never be able to say I'm sorry for everything.
あ、あー、子供が死んでた。私向こうの方しか見てなかった。 が難しい。さっきの黒い狼はどっかに行ってしまったか。焦燥感を煽るような感じだけど、とりあえずまっすぐひたすら進んでいこう。あそこに光っているところがある。なんか景色がさっきよりなんかちょっと鮮やかじゃないっていうか、なんか濁った感じの色になってる。割ともうあれかな、そんな多分長くないゲームだから。
I need to go to bed. I just can't talk about this.
あ、なんか終わる？え、嘘。
Good night.
それか今日のことはみたいな、今日はここまでみたいな感じなんか。お父さんが亡くなったことがショックで、なんかこう過去の自分が迷惑かけたこととかをなんかもっと謝りたかったみたいな、そういう感じなのかな。え、なんか全然違うとこ来た。
Joseph, you
Oh.
can't go to sleep feeling like this. I'm sorry for everything, and I know you need space, but I'm here for you.
これまで
You
のこと
don't
本
need
当
to
にごめん
feel
な
so
さい。
lost.
どういう
Joseph,
こと？
have I ever told you what my mother was like?
え、何今度そのなんか彼女側？どういうことだ？めっちゃ眩しそうなんだけど。 あ、鹿？
You know what it's like not to have a mom at home. And you know how hard that made my childhood. What helped me was watching the birds in the morning before the school bus came. I thought that my mother was one of those birds, and it made me want to be free like her. My mom taught me how to fold origami cranes while she was in the hospital. So I told myself I would fold one every day until I could fly myself.
彼女の方も彼女の方でなんかちょっと物語があるっぽいな。
I think we both have always loved animals, and for me that love started with a dog. Sometimes this Rottweiler would come up to our property line and wait at the fence for me, but only once in a while. I was sure to check every day immediately after school, and it usually ended in disappointment. I would even steal money from my passed-out dad just so I could buy these off-brand dog biscuits. Even when she did stop by, she never went beyond the fence. Why was she so scared?
後悔してもしょうがないんだよって
I
いう
think
ことを
my
言いたい
dad
か
was the
な。
opposite of your dad in almost every way, except he was in the military as well. He coped with alcohol of every kind. The trailer started falling apart, he got angry, and I withdrew.
あ
More and more I became the weird, quiet kid who made lots of origami birds and carried dog biscuits around. I think we were pretty similar when it came to being the weird kids. And that same sincerity and courage was one of the reasons I was
ー
so
彼女
drawn
の
to
方
you.
はお父さんがちょっとあれなのか、だいぶお酒にだらしない人だったのか。
Life got worse and worse. And at one point,
え
I
ー
really didn't think I could survive another day with my soul still intact. I had no real friends, let alone neighbors, since we lived in the middle of nowhere. I should have talked to my teacher, but I was scared what he would do if he found out. As I waited for the school bus one morning, I walked around until I found something in an abandoned shed. Something I can't put into words.
自
I
転車。
summoned courage I didn't know I had, and I broke into my dad's room and found the key to the shed where he had locked my bike. I'll never forget that feeling. The wind rushing by my ears as the sun rose over fields of wheat. I was flying for the first time. I biked as far as my legs could take me until I found a
い
house
や
that
ー
felt
それ
friendly.
彼女の方すごい壮絶な人
Those
生だ
strangers
な
helped。me in so many ways. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have found my foster family. And if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't have met you.
「家じゃ生きていけないから出てって」自分で里親を見つけるみたいな
And
ね。
you're not as alone as you
ああ
think.
ああああああ
It's all just so pointless. Just waiting for life to happen. It's like having the home I
あ
always
あ
wanted
ー、な
is
る
cursed
ほ
out
ど
of
か。
my reach.
ああ、なるほど
Thought
ね。
of being a parent myself. How could I do that when I couldn't even be a good son? I'm sorry. I know what you're saying.
子供ができたんだけど、
These quiet hours will turn into years. We'll wonder which roads
Ah.
passed us by.
Then we'll forge a new road together. Besides, I discovered for myself that one fateful morning where any hopeful road leads to. There may be thorns and mist, but it always leads to the same thing.
And what's that?
Family.
おー、
I'm so glad that you're part of my family, Rachel.
奥さんだった。彼女じゃなかった
And I'm
けど。
glad you're part of mine.
ああ、なるほどね。そっか。自分がいい息子じゃなかったのにね、そんななんか自分が父親になれるとは、いい父親になれると思わないみたいな。子供を育てる自信がないって感じなのか。でもそれはね、奥さんも自分の親はね、なんかいい親じゃなかったからみたいな。あ、なんかすごい鹿いっぱいいるんですが。どこかに私の仲間はいませんか？狐はいないのか？鹿ってなんかこんななんか水浴びすんのかな？お互い幸せな、あ、でもあれか、主人公の方は、まあ、お父さんはいいお父さんだったからな。自分が父親になるっていうことにすごい過剰に不安になっちゃってるんだろうな。意外ともう終わりが近いんじゃないか。やだー、あー、めっちゃ落ちた。でも結構景色は色鮮やかになってきたからいい感じなのでは。お、物語が進むぞ。あ、でもなんか雨降ってるんですけど、あれ、なんか急に ちょっと不穏。
The fox knew her last cub would be waiting for her at the first
あ、
tree.
我が子が始まりの木の下で待っていること。
She was
はははははは。
The rain cascaded onto the jade valley where the entrance to the tree was. Life was protected there, because that's where life began. It was now only a mother and a daughter left. Items from my life still dotted the ground as she moved closer to her destination and destiny.
Is 道なりに進んでいって危ない、落っちゃうとこだった。全部で何個あるんだろう。あ、150個あるの結構あるね。全然取り逃してそうだからな。100個は取れそうだけど。あんまりくまなく探し回ってないからな。雨。あ、家があるぞ。あのお家は自分が昔暮らしてた家なのかな。お父さん木こりやってるって言ってたし、あ、なんかある。
My dad was super supportive with my college plans. To a point. Things were okay until this terrible accident happened. I guess a forklift flipped over due to a bad axle, and it crushed one of the workers there. My dad didn't eat for days, even though he wasn't directly
あ、も
involved.
しかして
It
お父
devastated him.
さん自
Not
殺
only
し
did
ちゃ
it
っ
hurt
た
the
のか
business, but it
な。
just freaked him out. He would talk in his sleep, muttering things about firing people and saying sorry. One fateful day he approached me, said that since my school search wasn't going well, I should finally be a man and take over the family business. He said one day he was going to die, and that all of his work, sacrifice, and even that man's life would be wasted in vain. I just lost it. Teenage me just exploded at the thought. I screwed up. I said things I shouldn't have. He was having a crisis, and I pretty much spit in his face.
Ah, なんかお父さん自殺してるような感じするな。普通に亡くなってたらなんかここまでそんなに引きずらないんじゃないかな。なんか途中和解してたしね。なんか仲良さそうだったのに。登れますか？あれ、ここもしかしていけない？あ、いけるわ。あ、いけない。ただの飾りだった。あそこになんかある。明るい未来がと思いきや、またなんかちょっとどん底に突き落とされてる感が。多分家入れるとこじゃないんだろうな。この上行けるんか。あ、なんかこっち違うらしい。この家の横とかはなんもないよな。 そこになんかある。でもこれだけか。なんか入院用のベッドみたいなのあったけど。あそこにあった。掘って。
Was that the last time you talked to him?
あー、
No,
な
I
る
called
ほ
on
ど。
holidays, and he would call on my birthday. I
あ
guess we acted like nothing ever happened, which was stupid. Didn't want to
まあ
ask
別
about
に
his
自殺とか
lumberyard.
はしなかった
I'm
んだ
sure he didn't want to ask about my job search. I
け
never
ど
went
そこか
back
ら
and
ギクシャ
visited.
クし始めちゃっ
I
たん
think
だ
the
ね。
last conversation we had was about what movies we had seen and what exactly a best boy is in the credits. I thought he would be here so much longer. In the distance, the first tree illuminated the wasteland. She couldn't go home anymore. She
病
did the
気
only
だった
thing
こ
she
と
was
は
capable
あれ
of,
か話してなかったんかな。
moving forward. My dad died alone in the middle of the wilderness. I should have been talking to him more. I should have done a lot of things differently.
進むしかできないのか。
If the first tree on earth brought life with it, if it taught the birds to sing and fly and showed saplings how to grow, what could it do for us?
あー、足取りが重いよ、キツネが。走れないもん。
There was a letter I received yesterday from a name I didn't
死は
recognize.
生の反対
With
で
a
はなく
quote
その
I
勢い。
can't stop thinking about. Death is not the opposite of life, but a part of it. More and more, I'm realizing one important truth. Each of us have our own journey to the first tree. But sometimes I'm not sure I'm ready to take that first step.
You already have my love.
頑張って前を向いてこう。 に登ってきたはいいが、これどこに進めば。3つが絡んでるように見えるのはあれかな、自分と奥さんとその新しい子供のことなのかな。あれゴール？何これ、どういうこと？最初の木は目を覚まし、子供たちに最後にもう一度だけ伝えたいメッセージ、あらかをきつね優しくされた時、何それ、そんなん、あ、拾ってきたそのやつが入力できる文字数ってことか。子供たちに伝える言葉か。なんだろうな。守ってあげられなくてごめんねとかそういう感じかな。あ、これなんかちょっと怖いな。ちょっと待って、画面予測変換がちょっと怖いからちょっと待ってね。聞く傾向。こんな感じかな。あ、間違えた。こっちだわ。一応謝罪と、これからも来ていくよっていう意味を込めて、思ってあげられなくてごめんね、あなたたちのことは忘れないわっていうメッセージにしようと思います。
I guess her journey was over. But I have no idea. It was only a dream, a distraction from tomorrow.
I don't think dreams normally bring back to memory so many important feelings. Maybe it was just a dream, but it was also a gift.
Yeah, I suppose. But tomorrow we're getting on a plane to the last place on Earth I want to be. The only person that would have made the trip worth it is gone.
You're going to see him and be with him one last time before you say goodbye. I have one last quote for you by Emerson, sealed in an imaginary letter from me to you. It is the secret of the world that all things subsist and do not die, but only retire a little from sight and afterward return again. Go to sleep, my love. We have a big day tomorrow, but I'll be there with you every step of the way.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. Good night, Rachel.
Good night, Joseph.
でもね、行きたくない場所っていうのは奥さんの実家、それか自分の実家、お墓参りってことかな。でも6ヶ月後をなんかその後が出てきた。携帯が鳴ってる。急な人急に人になった。なんか物音がする方に行けばいいのかな。いや違うな。家の中で何かやることあったんかな。それかこの先に何か。あ、いや別にそういうわけじゃないな。家の中かな。うんうん。 若干ホラーなんだけど。あ、子供部屋。え、子供部屋があってお風呂場があって、あ、奥さんいるわ。普通に奥さんいたわ。自分だけが目を覚ましたっていう感じか。ね、偏僻なとこ住んでる。あ、でもこっちっぽいな。これが昔の名残って感じなのかな。
What the hell?
え、狐が。狐が呼んでる。自分の田舎に戻ってきたってことなのかな。ずいぶん山下ってきたけど、かなり大きい湖。どこに連れて行かれるんだ私は。始まりの木のところに行くのかな。歌ありの音楽流れてきたエンディング的な。あー、なんか家の、あ、違うわ、普通にただの木だったわ。 あー、やっぱ始まりの木にいざなわれてたんだ。きっと名前が彫られてるんじゃない？っていうか、もしかしてお父さんがなんかメッセージ残してるのでは。なんかそんな感じする。あー、なるほど。さっき入れた文字が、メッセージが今木に彫られてたんだ。多分英語にされてたんだよね。とりあえず終わりかな。何気にすごいプログラムね。日本語で入れたやつをさ、多分英語に変換してるからすごいな。え、オンラインコメントからいいえでいいかな。でも狐からさ、自分に対してのメッセージってなると、なんかちょっとなんか私宛てになるとなんかおかしな感じになりそうだったけど、大丈夫だったかな。でも狐はなんだろう。狐お父さんだったとしたら、メッセージが残されてるのも別にあれかな。なんかあんまり違和感なく飲み込める感じか。お父さんっていうより狐はその主人公の心を軽くするために現れたって感じか。意外となんか深くて、なおかつなんか何気にすごいプログラムを入れてるのが驚きでしたね。まさか集めてるかけらが後々こう残せるメッセージの文字数になると思わなかったし、 それ日本語で普通に漢字も入れてたし、入れてたけどなんか英語に翻訳されて木に刻まれてるっていうのもね、結構さっぱりな感じでしたが、でも面白かったかな。まあなんか今回の主人公はその自分に子供ができたことによりその父親になれる不安がすごい強い感じだったけど、でも実際みんなそうだと思うからな。なんか子育てで慌てるのってマジ人間だけですよね。動物って今まで全然その子育てとか一切してないけど産んだら本能で育てるっていうのができるから、すごいなと思います。なんか他のところでハリちゃん出産、ハリネズミ出産してるやつとか見たりとかすると、いやうちの子たちももし子供産んだらもう普通に育て始めるんだろうなって思ったら、いやマジ人間って感じだよね。よし、じゃあそんな感じでザ・ファーストツリーはここまでにしたいと思います。すごい BGM とかね良かったから、もしかしたら私がなんか取り逃してるところとかもあるのかもしれないけど、とりあえずここまでって感じで。なんか久しぶりにこうゆったりしたなんか感じのゲームをやりましたね。なんかちょっと心が浄化される感じだったわ BGM が。で枠取り直してデドバ普通にやろうと思いますとりあえずザ・ファーストツリーはここまでな感じでありがとうございました。ニコニコの方スピさん広告ありがとうございました。 YouTube も高評価ありがとうございます。ではではまた、お時間会う時遊びに来てくれたら嬉しいです。では一旦枠閉じてまた、デート場で枠を取り直したいと思います。お疲れ様でした。ありがとうございました。